Welcome to Conversations with Toi, a blogcast tackling life one episode at a time. This is the time to air out life's craziest moments. This space is all about speaking about life's hang-ups and ways in which we can leave better than when we started. Topics are all about ways we can find space to be better in life, love, mental space, and health.
Happy Friday. I hope that you have had the most amazing week because you are absolutely deserving. Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Toi. I am Toi, your podcaster, but I wear lots of hats. I'm a content creator, freelance writer, blogger, influencer, so many other hats. I help with social media. I do all kinds of wonderful things, but the two hats I love the most is being a wife and an amazing mother to 3 amazing children. I am super grateful for yet another Friday for us being here together. Thank you for all those who listened to last week's episode. It was a little raw. It was snatching almost right from my own family situation. And since then, or even with then, I had a wonderful conversation with my therapist before I made the episode and then afterwards. And it felt good to be able to say the truth that I needed to say. And beautifully enough, I won't get into the ins and outs, but just say, I think we've been able to eliminate some of the drama that I was anticipating. You know how like when you're going through some stressful situation, you know it's about to come. And as I'm preparing for my daughter's last year and some of the events that she's taking place this year, and then next year will be so many other amazing events, that anxiety was real. Listen, there were so many people that, like I said in the last episode, that just was so against me having her. And again, made me feel like I was an 18-year-old pregnant young teenager. Here I was graduated, got my own job, my own car, my own place, my own HMO, PTO. You know what I mean? I got everything. And people made it such a big ordeal when I got pregnant. And I have always made sure to shield my daughter at the time, because at the time it was just her. Now there's 2 others, to make sure that they are not surrounded by any foolishness, any shenanigans, anything like that when it comes to how my children are received. I don't think that my kids are everybody's cup of tea, but what you won't do is you won't spit them out in my presence, right? And that is just the whole goal. And I know anybody, whether you're a parent or not, you can feel that. People understand what it feels like to be rejected. You're rejected by people's behavior, their responses. I'm not dealing with that. I had a conversation with my husband just about some things that we needed to talk about in regards to it. About I'm not putting up with foolishness from anybody, nobody's side of the family, no side of the friends. I'm just not doing that. And I am getting more and more comfortable in the fact that if somebody doesn't like me because of the simple fact that I'm setting boundaries, then you was going to not like me anyway. So now I'm giving you a real reason, right? I am grateful for the growth, the actual growth that I've experienced in my life. And let me tell you, therapy has been such a great help for that. It has allowed me to set my thoughts straight and make sure that I'm in tune to the things that are necessary. Now, if you are new here, listen, I want you to understand that we talk about all things that are happening in these internet streets, what's happening in the real streets. We talk about mental health and wellness every single episode. It does not matter. There will always be a conversation that has to do with some type of mental health and wellness. It could be talk about therapy, different things that you can do outside of therapy, but whatever it is, we're going to talk about it. And I hope that is why you're here. Again, I started this, I called this a blogcast instead of a podcast because I am a blogger. You can follow me on Toitime, TOITIME.org. I started a blog. It has to be, this is the 13th year, 12th year of child, and I lost count. But I started the blog and it was started because of my postpartum depression. I wanted a space that I can talk about things, the everyday things. It didn't have to be focused exclusively on postpartum depression. But that is where I started. I said, listen, let me find a space. I couldn't find a space that talked about the things that I wanted to hear, so I created one. I created a space for women to feel comfortable so they can talk about every little thing. And they can feel comfortable in knowing that if you had to talk about you having whatever it is with your mental health, that you should not be ashamed just because you're struggling. Here is the other fact about this. I have had even my own husband use my own mental health against me. I've talked about this very openly. He's talked about it on the podcast with me about how he had done that and how you talk about devastating. I am telling you that you can still heal, you can still live, you can still make good choices, you can still be happy and whole, even with all of these different adversities coming against you. I am a living, and I mean absolute living witness that you can do so. So with that being said, I want to talk about the survival mode. survival mode, what that is, how I define it, how I see it in my own personal life, and examples that I see. So I hope that you can see yourself in that. And my goal is that when we're talking about survival mode, we don't need to talk about the doom and gloom of it, although it is it is a struggle time, right? When you're in survival mode, you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I do want to let you know that light does come at the end of the tunnel. You do get through it. Even if you go through something else later down the line, you will still have this happen, and you can and will be okay to get through it. A lot of times we tell ourselves that we're not going to get through it. It's the worst thing that has ever happened to us. Why me? Why me? Why not you? You are equipped with the very things that are inside of you to get through it. And if you remember that when you get put into life's challenges, I have to remind myself of that quite often. I promise you, you will see to it to the other side. So when we talk about survival mode, it is the body's and mind's emergency setting. It is this thing that you do, or the set of things that you do to make it through yet another day. The only thing that we need to also make clear is that survival mode isn't something that we're supposed to be a way of living. Meaning there are people who literally be like, I'm just surviving. I'm just surviving. Please take that out of your vocabulary. If you are going through a season of survival, meaning there are certain things that are attacking you at one point, at one time, it can happen at one time. Oftentimes it does, because that's what your fight or flight comes in. You have things that are hitting you at one time. It's okay to say that life is lifing, but life should not be lifing for you every single day. There should be a point when you have joy. There should be a point when you have peace. There should be a point when there's a break in survival mode. Sometimes, because we've had a lot of things happening in our lives, we tend to think that everything is survival mode when it is not. Everything is not a survival mode. Everything isn't life is lifing. It doesn't have to life every single day. Okay. Again, if you keep telling yourself that everything is just happening and everything is such a bad situation, you will have what you say. And I'm not talking about that false positivity that if you just speak happy about it, it'll go away, because it won't. But being honest about not living in survival mode versus having yourself become in survival mode when situations pop up is two different things. Survivor mode can show up when you're hyper vigilant about something. You're trying to make sure that you protect yourself from something so much that because you know that something is coming, is that doom and gloom that you're feeling. Sometimes people shut down. Sometimes you can be irritable. Sometimes you can be numb. And have you ever experienced that within yourself or seen somebody else who has been through that? They're in survival mode so much. They're so tired of things happening that they just don't have the strength. They're just like, you know what? Whatever. And if you here's the thing, the whatever word is a trigger for me only because I always have heard that growing up, whether it was from my parents or other adults around me. You say something to them and they say whatever because it's a way to dismiss your feelings. So when I hear or see somebody in a whatever, or even if I'm in a whatever mode, I'm very clear that something is happening and I try to lean in to figure out what's happening. Also, over functioning. You're doing too much to stop yourself from feeling the effects of your survival mode. I have done that. I have been a functioning person who has continued on acting as if life is not happening, acting as if these things aren't overwhelming. And that can also be just as problematic as overreacting to it, right? Now, why so many people don't realize that they're in it is because it forces you to pause. If you recognize that something is happening to you and you're recognizing that there's it's like a snowball effect that's happening. If you don't pause to take a time to acknowledge it and then ask yourself, what are the things that I didn't recognize while this was happening? And then to take a pause, what's happening is that's when those feelings of hypervigilance, shutting down, irritability, numbness, all those things come into place because you're not willing to take the pause. I don't want to deal with it. A lot of people in survival mode say it is what it is. It is not what it is. You may be having a hard time, but you don't have to accept it and therefore just succumb to it. So when I hear people or even myself saying, it is what it is, it is not. You have to take some accountability in what's happening. Is it some of the survival mode something that you put yourself into? We're going to talk about all of that, right? Now, there's a difference between being busy and being in survival mode. Like, I'm a content creator. There are times when my schedule is busy. There are a lot of things that I have quote unquote signed myself up for because I could have said no, right? I always have a choice. I could always say no. But there's a difference between being super busy and in survival mode. They can clash. You can be the type that puts so much on your schedule to, again, numb yourself from the fact that you are in survival mode, right? But you have to take this pause. Now, how does it rewire your daily life? Like, how does it show up in your life? Decision fatigue and feeling like every task is too much. If you're saying to yourself, I know I should eat, but God, if I got to think about making myself something to eat, I'm so tired of having to cook. Are you really tired of cooking, or are you in some type of survival mode, and every little thing, even the things that are mundane, things that you should already just kind of flow with, become a problem? Take stock in that. Emotional flatness or emotional whiplash. This means emotional flatness, that numbness that comes in. You have that numbness that comes in. You act as if, you're not aware that you should be doing certain things. You're just like, oh, whatever, I don't care. When people respond with whatever, I don't care, it is what it is, their heart is speaking. It's coming from a place. 9 times out of 10 and 10 times out of 9, it's because they feel like they're overwhelmed and they don't have an outlet. I have been explaining to even some of like my friends who use these phrases all the time. I'll say to them, like, when was the last time you saw a therapist? Well, and then excuses flow. And I'll say, well, why don't you just give it a try? Like, you need someone professional that can kind of check your emotions and give you the tools necessary so you can live to see another day. There are some people that are so literally just naturally miserable. These are the types of folks that I cannot be around because it triggers my own issues, and I will be the first to acknowledge it. It triggers me, but I don't think we were meant to be around people who are draining us, right? So I try to balance, like, okay, I'm here for you, you're going through something, or are you just a person that's just sitting in that miserableness and there's nothing that anybody can say or do to bring you out? So that emotional flatness, no emotions at all, or they respond too quickly. Like, I'm the type of person that will respond very, very quickly to something without thinking it through because I just go off that knee-jerk reaction. My son came home and told me about a situation with a classmate. I am very much close friends with the classmate. I wanted to call the parent immediately right when I heard it. I didn't even get the full story. Just straight up, that's it, we calling. I had to step back. My reason for doing that is because I never want my kids to feel like I'm not in their corner, because there were times when I felt like my parents were in the corner. So I had to take a step back. Now that I'm level-headed, yeah, I'm going to make a call to the parent. Now I got the full story. I am most definitely going to make a call to the parent. But it was after I took that step back. Most of the time when you're in survival mode, you don't even have the mindset to step back. Also, when you're in survival mode, the things that you love, you no longer enjoy. I am a content creator. I love that. I love doing all the things. I love receiving packages. I love doing opening. I do UGC too. So why would I not love that? But when you're in survival mode, it's like packages are piling up. I told y'all, 2 weeks ago or 2 or 3 podcasts ago, that I was having packages pile up. Now, granted, because I know my husband and kids listen to this, I do have packages that haven't been opened, but they're in steady rotation. Like, I have a plan for how I'm going to roll these things out. But when I'm in survival mode, it's easy for me to just sit there and just let them. I had one time I had 10 packages sitting there. Why would I have 10 packages sitting there knowing I got stuff to do, knowing I got to turn these things around, knowing that, right? This is how the mind works. People who overcompensate, they do more to avoid anything. This is why people who are in survival mode, if your vice is to drink, to smoke, to do any of those things, you'll do a lot more of that to numb the fact that you're going through that. You see people that's got to go out, they go out to try to be with friends, to try to like act as if these things are not happening, but you got to come home. And when you come home and you're at night, this is when people stay up at night. That's why depression, anxiety, these things kind of work together and they tag team you at one time. And if you're in the survival mode, you can't see a way out of any of it. And also the guilt that comes from being able to not show up like your quote unquote old self. Listen, you're going to have times when your quote unquote old self may not exactly be what it needs to be. Like, we're so tuned on being like I was when I was in my 20s. I could drink like a sailor. You're not in your 20s. You older with stuff that can happen. You got stuff that can, you don't need hypertension. You don't need to have high blood pressure. You don't need to have a stroke. You don't need to have a seizure. Like, these are things that you can no longer do because your old self is not able to handle that. And your old self can't contain the new life you're supposed to be living. So when people refer back to back in the days they were able to do, you weren't supposed to continue that for a long period of time. It was supposed to be a season. This is why I'm always for people to have that season when they kind of go out and wild out a little bit before they settle down. Because if you don't get that out of your system, you'll be 50 years old still in the club. And there are plenty of them in there. Now, I'm not telling you that you're too old to be in the club. But if you're trying to be in there because you just trying to live the days of grandeur, or back in the days when you was popping, locking, you was, dropping it like it's hot. Now your knees don't work as much and you need to be somewhere at home, just kind of like brunching it up, hanging out with friends, going to a show, doing grown people things. That's the problem. It ain't the club. It's where has your life now gravitated you to, and why are you going backwards? Why are we falling backwards? Some of the things that we keep telling ourselves when we're survival mode, it's like, I'm fine. You know you're not. This is why I don't ask people, are you okay? Because I don't ask them, are you just simply okay? Because they'll say yes, or they'll say no, or they say, I'm okay. I've asked my friends that, knowing that you could tell in their voice that something was going on. You could tell by the way that their meaning, their spirit is. When you try to ask them, I'm fine, it's all right. Or I don't have time to fall apart. I don't even have time to be sad. I don't even have time. Ma'am, sir, what do you mean you don't even have time to be upset? Listen, I have everything on on my back right now. Between all the things, right? All of the things that I have on my plate, I still have time to be sad. I still have time. And I'm running businesses, doing podcasts, doing all kind of stuff. I'm literally in the car sometimes 4 to 5 hours at a pop. Yes, you do have time. Stop telling yourselves that lie. Please listen to me. I know you listen to me. Lean in. Lean in. I know you're on the treadmill. You fold up the clothes like me. I get it. Lean in. You have time to take care of yourself. And the lies that you tell yourself that you don't have the time is the reason why you're stuck. I don't want you to be stuck. I need you to come out of that. If I stop, everything is going to collapse. I used to think that because you think that you are just everybody's always asking you for things. You always are needful. But let me just explain something to you. If God forbid, God took you out of this earth, people will adjust. They will heal. Let's not let him have to take you out of here before you get that message. So stop allowing other people around you and your alleged responsibilities to stop you from tapping into yourself. Okay. We're going to stop that right now. Okay. You are not too busy. Right. And especially like for caregivers, if you're a caregiver, if you're taking care of some women, Black women, especially, we just be feeling like we have the weight of the world on our shoulders. And maybe to a point we do, maybe to a point. However, I need you to stop that narrative today. You do have the time. You're just not investing the time. You have it. You have the time to do it, but you keep telling yourself that you don't. You keep telling yourself that, everybody just needs me and I got to do this and I got to do that. Listen, like I said, I have so much on my plate right now. Everybody is aware of it. Everybody's done, no, I'm so sorry. I don't know how you do it. I hear the stories all the time. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. I'm going to tell you how I do it. It's not anything fancy. I'm just going to tell you right now, the way that I've been able to survive and do all the things that is on my plate right now, and especially in this last year, and still take care of myself, is because I prioritize it. I prioritize myself. I know the flows in which PR send invitations and how that works, right? And because I'm aware of the flow of how PR send things, I know how I can schedule. I know that on Mondays usually is a slower day. There may not be anything going on. Tuesdays is somewhat slow as well. So I know on Mondays and Tuesdays, I can put a schedule, I can put therapy on my schedule and make that a priority. I will make schedule my therapy like a lot later in the evening, like a 7:30, 8 o'clock, even 8:30, 9 o'clock if I have to, but I make sure it's a priority. And when I place it on the schedule, unless I need to change it, it's going down. I'm keeping my appointment. I'm honoring myself because it's important to me and for me that I tap in to make sure that I'm okay. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, is if I don't, I would be off the chain. Like I'm already off the chain with therapy. If I wasn't, I would be way worse. And so I honor myself and I take care of myself and I make myself a priority. And a lot of us don't do that. You allow everything else to get on that schedule, but time to yourself. Listen, even if you just say, hey, unavailable, and put that on your schedule, put in your schedule, hey, I'm going to read my book during this hour. I'm going to dedicate an hour to draw. I'm going to dedicate an hour to paint. I'm going to dedicate an hour to do a walk. I'm going to dedicate an hour to go to the gym. Whatever that you need to place on that schedule, put it on there because, again, I'm telling you, you think everything is just going to fall apart, but you're going to fall apart more than anything else around you if you don't make yourself a priority. Because I promise you, everybody else in life is going on and on and on, and you are the one that's left holding the bags. But it's only because you keep picking the bags up. What I've learned in this season is that, yes, I have a lot to do. The people are requiring a lot from me. I need to drive people from point A to point B. Yet all that stuff makes sense. All that stuff happens, right? But if I couldn't do it, they would Uber. If I couldn't be there, I need to be somewhere else, they will do that. And guess what? They have been. They have been. They've shown me they could do it. I knew they could do it. And I didn't need to feel guilty even when the times when I said, listen, I got to go to something that's on a night that y'all got something else to do. I got to do it. Hey, guess what? It gets done. It gets done. So again, let me be the first to say that at the end of the day, you got to take care of you. Nobody else is going to save you. You ever heard that people say that? You ain't nobody else going to come to save you, because they ain't. Nobody else is going to save you, but you can save yourself because you are worth it. Because if you don't, like emotional burnout, I've had stuff with like sleep issues, inflammation, all kind of stuff. You get irritable, you shut down in your relationships, you lose your sense of self. I have been telling my therapist straight up every episode, but every therapy session, I think I've been going once a week. And I've been telling him, I am struggling. I am not okay. Yes, we could talk about a lot of things. We could talk about my relationship. We could talk about my kids. We could talk about the business. We could talk about a lot of things. But I need to just have this moment to tell you that I'm not okay. And guess what that has opened up? Conversation, tools, even silence, even such like little pockets of silence, even times when I'm just able to cry without judgment. Do you know how freeing it is to be able to cry in front of somebody that has no reason to judge you? And even if he would, like, they're professional, they're not going to sit there and be like, now look at this child, Lord, look at this child. No, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen at all. Also, when you're in survival mode, you can't be joyful, you can't be creative, and you can't connect with other people. It literally it steals your joy. It steals your ability to be creative. And as a content creator, that is literally the meat and potatoes of what I do. You can't be a content creator. You cannot be creative. You cannot let the creativity flow. You can't make new things. You can't do it because you're over in survival mode, right? You are. One of the things that my therapist stressed upon me this week was asking for help. He said, use every resource that you have. One of the biggest resources that I have right now is my therapist. So I have scheduled once a week, right? Once a week, I think usually Mondays or Tuesdays is the day that I do it, right? Show up for my hour. I'm dedicated. I'm locked in. He's locked in. It helps. I feel just such a weight lift off of me. I've been journaling. I've been reading my Bible. I've been trying to get active. These are all the things that work together beautifully, work together beautifully. The flip of all of those things, right? The flip of all of those things is when I am not in the flow, when I'm not focused, when I'm not doing all those things and things go truly left is when I'm not able to ask for help. So he said, hey, I'm okay with you sending me a text or calling me and say, hey, can I run something by you? Can I get something off of me? I would never think to do that because I don't like to call people. Listen, you already give me an hour of your time. You have other clients. I am not your only client. We're not personal. It's not personable. It's not any of that. I'm not calling you just to call you. But he was like, use all your resources. You can call me, send a text. If I can't get to you, I'll get to you as soon as I can. Call. Ask for help. That was the biggest thing. He kept saying, ask for help, ask for help. And that's one of the things that we have to do. Releasing rest without guilt. So let me tell you something. 2 days this week, I went to bed at 8:30. Now, I had a lot of things I should have been doing. I should have been editing those boxes that are sitting upstairs. I should have been doing things like, I don't know, exercising and working. I got a whole thing I'm training for. I should have been doing all those things. But I said, you know what? I'm going to rest. I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm just going to rest and go get my sleep. And it's been helping me. It helped me. I don't think if I would have gotten the sleep that those 2 days provided, and not to say that I was up exuberant hours during the other days, but just being in bed before 8:30, I was probably in bed before 2 of my kids. But I needed to rest. I needed to rest without feeling like oh my God, I can't believe it. You went to bed, now you're just disappointing everybody. Who am I disappointing? All 3 of my kids need to go to bed. They need to be in the bed for school. I'm not disappointed. My husband, he does things that he does at night, and he needs to be doing those things. He's not concerned. Go to bed. Right? And it helps to help you with emotional regulation. I'm telling you right now, because when you're in survival mode, everything tissues you off. Somebody breathing, somebody's chewing their gum. Now, some people just, they have a thing. That's actual thing, like chewing gum or eating or hearing somebody doing things that does bother people. But if it never bothered you before, but all of a sudden you're in a storm and now all of a sudden you're just getting short everybody, yeah, you're in survival mode. Truly you are. Okay? Things that you can do, the things that you can do. You need to rest, take a nap. People negate the things in nap. And don't tell me that because you have a full-time job that you can't take a nap. You have an hour lunch break. Here's what I need you to do. Go to your car. If you're in a safe place, go to your car, sit in that car for 30 minutes, take a little break, come back, reset, go ahead and eat, and then get back with your day. That's going to help. I've been keeping a crossword puzzle on me. Do that. Word search. Do that. Little things that you can do. These are very free 99 things that you can do. There's 1,001 things that you could do, right? I have playlists that I create for things like when I'm overwhelmed or if I'm mad at somebody or if I'm doing certain things, make a playlist. Music is a gateway. You may start off with a rough, your music may start off rough to kind of bring you through, get that anger out, and then it should mellow out. Little things that you can do. Little things. These are things you could do. Free 99. Stop telling yourself that you need to be the strong one, or because you are used to being the strong one, so that you wear that as some type of badge of honor. You don't get no plaque for that. Nobody's coming and sending you a certificate for that. Nobody's sending you a gift card saying, way to go, you were able to hold on to all the things and you were so super strong. And some of that is self-inflicted. Let me just say this one more time. Some of that is self-inflicted. You're so used to being the strong one, you start taking on your other friends' issues. They're going through with their husband, all of a sudden you going through with yours. You don't got to go through something because somebody else is going through it. And learn, when you hang up that phone, send a prayer immediately. Ask God to cleanse your mind and heart, and then move forward with your life. Because if not, you'll be carrying on the burdens of people that never asked you. Them folks is going to be arguing with them person. Next thing you know, they be in the bed doing what the grown folks do at night and being moved on while you still crying and dying about something somebody else going on. Being strong don't mean you got to collect all the bones of everybody's pain and hide onto them and bury them as if it's your job. It's not. It's not your job to heal them. It's not your job to fix them. It's not your job to rescue them. It's not your job to hold space for them. It is your job to be there and present. And then when it's time, I have had friends go through some serious traumatic things. I had a bestie that went through divorce. I had a friend who's trying to conceive. I have this person going through that. Listen, let me tell you, Linda, let me tell you something right now. Let folks go. Let them do what they need to do. Okay? Because while you're struggling, holding on to their things, they eventually move on. You ever have heard somebody, their husband and them is going back and forth 27 times, they eventually break up, or they eventually get back together while you're still mad at the first situation? It happens. That's why you can't talk to everybody about your marriage stuff, because everybody's not so willing to move on and forget and forgive. So again, you are not too busy. You don't need to hold on to it. You just don't. If you would like to have a few steps of how can you get out of survival mode, first acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Recognize that your feeling and all the things that you have going through is trying to protect you, right? All the things that you're going through is trying to protect you. So in that protection, it's okay to acknowledge it. You notice that you're getting angry about certain, notice those patterns. Notice when you're overworked. Notice when you're numb. Notice those things, and then slow it down. Slow it down. Before you react, think about it. Do one thing at a time. I know we are a micro, we try to do all the things. We micromanage. We try to do all the things, but go ahead and lay down. And what I don't mean by laying down is meaning go to sleep, although that's a good thing too. But I mean is lay down. Be at peace with things not being okay. Stop thinking about everything at one time. Think about, what can I do right now? And let some things just be good enough. Listen, there are days when I just be killing in the game. You understand me? I done woke up, read my Bible. I done drank my water. I done worked out. I done did my work. I done did my content. I done did this. I done did that. But some days it's like, you know what? I made it through the day. Nobody got cussed out. I was still attacked in my emotions. I'm able to move forward. That's it. That's it. That's all I can do for today. Sometimes it happens. Do micro resets. Like, I'm such big on micro resets. Again, these are small resets that you can do that are helpful for you. Do them. Okay? Go ahead and do them. You don't got to do macro. Sometimes macro might not be there. Set a boundary. Delegate one task. Today or this moment, I'm going to just focus on my breakfast. After my breakfast, I'll see what the day handles to me. I may have to cancel some things. I have done this. This has been my thing. To all the PRs, thank y'all for being patient with me. But there has been so many times I had to just say, I can't do that today. I may have signed up for it. I don't want you to be mad at me, but I have to say no today. I have to then say no to something I can't do. Ask for help, whether it be something small. Hey, like this instance, my weekend is crazy. Everybody has somewhere to go. I'm only one person. I'm trying to put in time for myself. Everybody needs things. And my husband and I had to ask for help to get somebody to help drive my son to someplace this weekend. And that is that small point of helping, because now I don't have to overthink. I had something I had to do, was like 3 things had to be done yesterday. I couldn't do it all, but I was like, you know what, Lord, you'll show me. And then what ended up happening was certain things happened, put into place, and it worked out beautifully. Take a deep breath. Learn how to take a deep belly breath. That means down from your shanana. I mean, like, go down deep and bring that back up. Sometimes for me, a warm shower, and then after that, like lathering up with all my things, getting underneath my weighted blanket, because that weighted blanket causes me to be still. I don't know what type of weighted blanket some of y'all be having. If you can throw it too quickly, it ain't enough weight for you. You might need a little bit more, because if you had the right weighted blanket, for those who use weighted blankets, it's supposed to slow you down. It's supposed to literally almost stop you in your tracks. Like, you're supposed to be like, you know what? Let me step back, because I'm not living right. Let me go ahead and push back. I need to take a step back. For me, my weighted blankets cause me to sit still. These are like little things you can just add into your life. It's nothing for me to say, you know what? I'm so all over the place. I need to slow down and see, how can I pour into my cup first? So again, when I talk about that shower, it's because you know what? I need to take this shower and just take the day off of me. Like last night, I decided to come in. I had to fold up some clothes and do a bunch of things. I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put on my pajamas instead of falling asleep in my clothes. I'm going to put on my pajamas. I'm going to take this makeup off. I'm going to cook myself a late dinner and I'm going to relax, which ended up making me go to bed, which ended up allowing me to feel rested, which ended up making me do all the things that needed to be done, because sometimes that is what boils it down to. It boils down to that sometimes. It just does. Phrases that have helped me come out of survival mode when I recognized that I was in it, when I took that pause to recognize it, is like, I'm tired. I can't do this. I'm going to do this instead because I don't want to tap into that. I need support or I'm feeling overwhelmed. That sounds like you're giving into the feelings. Like I grew up in churches where people will say things like, you got to name it and claim it, and you can't claim stuff that's wrong, and you can't claim things that are negative. Saying that I'm overwhelmed is not claiming, it's just being honest. Like, hey, by the way, FYI, the struggle is real. There's nothing wrong with that. And in the midst of claiming it doesn't mean that I accept it. It just says, you know what? I'm overwhelmed. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm overwhelmed, so I'm going to say no. I'm overwhelmed, so I'm going to get help. I'm overwhelmed, so I'm going to start delegating to other people about what it is that they can do. For instance, mothers, caregivers, those who do all these things. Hey, here's what you do. Set a timer for 30 minutes. Say, everybody come into this one space. I want us to all clean the space up, or these 2 rooms, for 30 minutes. When that timer goes off, y'all can go back up to your day and make sure y'all room is clean. That has helped. Or I'll say, listen, I'm about to clean. What I need from y'all is to get your items out of my way so I don't have to call your name. If you don't want me to call your name, then get your items out of my way. I'm going to put my headphones on. I'm going to clean, and that's what I want to do. I want to be left alone so I can do that. I'm not asking you to participate. I'm just asking you to move out the way so I can do what needs to be done. Fix. Easy fix. Long term, you need to put in systems that help you to reduce your stress. For instance, right now, I'm the family Uber. That's what I've been calling myself. However, there are times when I say, hey, to my oldest, hey, can you get one of your friends that live in our area to bring you back home from wherever function you may be at? Okay, that takes place. That helps off my system. Again, my therapist has been like a coach to me. He's been helping me. It's been doing things that has been helping to relieve my heart. It's been allowing me to be honest. I'm going to tell you one thing that doesn't help you if you're in therapy is being dishonest with your therapist. If you're not honest with your therapist, why are you paying that money? Hold on to that thought. We're going to talk about that when I talk about what's happening on these internet streets when it comes to mental health and therapy, okay? And again, you got to be honest. Take the time, set into place better systems, recognize that the system that you have in place is not working, recognize that you don't have to do it all. My kids are at an age where I can delegate, and I have been delegating. Some of y'all are like me who says, if you delegate, that's going to make your kids feel like they're doing too much. No. It's okay. Delegate. Let them know they can do their part. Last weekend, I have every child in here do all their laundry by themselves. I said, I want y'all to do your laundry. Y'all better have it done by this amount of time. And if that stuff ain't done by this amount of time, I don't know what to tell you. Guess what they did? It was done before that time because I set the boundary. It said, this is what I want you to do. This is what I need you to do. I want it done. Guess what? I didn't have to holler. I didn't have to scream. I didn't have to go off. I didn't have to break it on down. Just said, this is what I need. Guess what? It was done. I didn't have to feel like I needed to take on that. I was able to wash me and my husband's clothes later. Everybody had clean clothes, clean sheets, brand new clean rooms. We're trying to do our spring cleaning. All those things was done without a lot of hollering. Not a lot of foolishness, not a lot of back and forth. Everybody knew what was responsible for them. They knew what they needed to do, and everybody was at peace. We probably had the most peaceful weekend last weekend than we've had any other time because boundaries were set, things were needed to be set. Everybody got out, did something that they enjoyed, and everybody was able to come back in peace and go about their way to set their week up for a good week. But that only happens when you recognize that you need to set those things into play. Protect your peace, protect your energy, most importantly, to protect your heart and your mind. Be honest where you are, and I pray that whatever survival mode that you are, although it is protecting you from feeling all the things, you got to be able to sit still in that and bring yourself out of it by being honest and kind of dig yourself through. And if you focus only on you, like let's say, for instance, like if my husband and I wasn't getting along, we were in a little season that we weren't. I'm not focused on him. I'm focused on me. Because as together, we can't do nothing to collectively if we don't fix ourselves as separate, right? A lot of people try to fix each other collectively, not working on the individual things. You got to work on them individual things. And then if God helps you to fix those things collectively, then praise the Lord. But if not, hey, you got to do what you got to do. You got to work on you. But I do want to talk about what happened on these internet streets when it comes to therapy. Listen, I was on that, the little clock app, TikTok. And there was a woman who was in therapy. She had been in therapy for a while. Her therapist was yelling at her because he was like, you know, you have been going through all these different things, and I've been telling you to like get it together, all these kind of things. And why are you still coming back to me? Like, drop that man. That man is no good for you. He doesn't even like you. What is your reason? And she started breaking it on down. When I laughed so hard, it wasn't funny, but it was funny. But it wasn't, but was, is the fact that some of us spend so much time in therapy so long that we don't even have the wherewithal to understand you're not supposed to be in therapy every single day of your life. You're supposed to go through therapy for seasons. I have gone through therapy. Like when my mother-in-law passed, I went to therapy because I was already struggling before she passed with the relationship with my husband and myself as an individual, that I needed to go to therapy. And the things that my therapist said then are some of the things that are repetitive now in some of the therapy sessions that I've had. And I told my therapist that, and it's because that same thing with that same woman. If I told you that, or you heard that from months ago or even a few years ago, and you're repeating it, it's no longer about what the other person is doing. That's just a you thing. Right? And sometimes we think that if we show up to therapy and our therapist tells us to do certain things, that our life will just unfloat and it'll just be good to go. But if you're not doing the work, it ain't gonna nothing that's gonna work. And she told the lady, you've been in therapy for so long, I've been collecting co-pays from you for so long, that you are at the point where you done gave me so much money I could buy a whole nother car. With that being said, this is the episode for this week. Again, I can't stress enough that survival mode is a way to protect, but it can hinder you if you're not doing the work to come out of it. You are not in survival mode. It's not a lifestyle. It is not a doom and gloom for the rest of your life. You can have moments when things happen, and so you're trying to survive it. That's what you're doing. You're surviving it. If you are still surviving things from your childhood, that's because you haven't done the work. I have had some things happen in my childhood that no child should have to go through. I've had some things that have happened in my childhood that other people try to downplay. There's been all kinds of things. But let me be very clear. I am healing from that childhood. I'm not healed, I am healing, meaning there are times when, because healing is not linear, that I go up and down with things that are happening, but I'm not always in survival mode based upon my childhood. I'm not always in survival based upon bad things that have happened to me in college, and things that have happened to me in my marriage, or things that has happened to me as a mom, or things that has happened to me as a business owner. These are not things that are constantly happening. There is still joy available in life. I can still tap into those things. And if you're willing to tap into those things, you got to be willing to tap into those things, because nobody should just be living a doom and gloom life. I don't subscribe to that. I think things can happen. I think life can happen and it can touch any of us at any given time, 110%. But life doesn't have to just simply happen to us. We don't have to be a non-participant in our life. Things don't have to sneak up on us all the time. Yes, you can go through seasons of trials, meaning one thing happens after another. I've been through that. I don't think I'm going through that right now. I think I'm just going through the fact that my husband was sick and we're getting through it. Once he gets to the other side and does all the things that he can do, it'll be a season, and that season will be over. Yes, did that season take almost a year? It did. Seasons can be long, but seasons are not forever. And what if the situation happens to where my husband can't drive? What if he never was able to drive? I can't be like, woe is me, Jesus, I can't ever do. There are plenty of people who deal with just one driver in their home due to medical reasons, right? And because of that, it's not going to be the end of my life. I would have to find joy and work around that, work around my frustrations, be honest about the situation, do all the things that I'm doing now without thinking that my life has now ended because of this one thing. What I can do is take joy in the fact that the situation is not ideal, but at least I know where my family is, and I know that they're safe. And I'm not going to chance that just because I'm feeling some type of way. So again, you can have joy, you can have peace, you can do all of those things, but you got to put the work in. You got to do the work. So again, ask for help, do all the things, become a better person for yourself, not so other people can pat you on your back. Let me explain something to you. If you do that just to help somebody else see you in a better light, I'm here to tell you from lived experience that some people are just destined to see you in a certain way. They don't care what steps you've taken to become a quote unquote better person. They don't care. They're not going to care, and they're not going to do anything better with that. So again, I say, I need you to get together and do the things that you need to do so that you can become a better version of yourself. You can do it. It's more than worth of doing it, and you are deserving of a great life. So I'm seeking that for you. I'm praying that that's going to happen for you. I know that it can. So allow it to happen. Do the work. Sending you all kinds of love. You know how we're going to end this podcast. I say the same thing every week, and I don't say it very mundanely. I say it for you to be intentional. Find at least one activity that you can do that you love, that has nothing to do with the titles that you carry, that will bring you nothing but pure joy, peace, and love. So please do that. Take care of yourselves. Sending all the good vibes your way. And I hope that you have a good week. We'll be back next week to talk about it some more. Have a great week, and thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Toi.
Thank you as always for joining me, and I know that even in the deepest or joyful conversations that there's something we can learn and apply. Until next time, I hope that you are doing better. If not, we will be back to talk some more and handle it. Peace to you and yours. Stay grounded.